saw that how we can connect PowerShell using the SharePoint managed shell. Okay, so in this session, what we are going to do, we are going to connect using the client side object model. Okay, so first of all, we saw that in last session we installed SharePoint online management shell, and using the command line we connect to the SharePoint. So this activity we have performed in earlier session. So you can see here, up to this we created the simple site here. Okay, so now at that time we use the command line. Okay, so command line, uh, those are a bit difficult to write. When we go into the client side object model, we'll get more flexibility to working with the PowerShell. So see here, now for client side I have opened one block here. So this link is for that, and it will open this. So in that we can see Csom, client side object model. Using the PowerShell, how we can interact with the client side object model. Before that, we need to learn what is the client side object model. For that purpose, I have opened this link. Earlier in SharePoint 2010, then 2007, there was server side object model and client side object model. From SharePoint 2010, there is a client side object model came in picture, so that Microsoft wants to implement major more things at the client side. That's why client side object model came in a picture, and the server side gradually deprecated. So more scope is on a client side object model, okay, to reduce the load on a server. So what happened at SharePoint, there are a service. The name of the service is a client.svc. The service name is a client.svc. We write our code here. Here JavaScript is written, but we write our code in a PowerShell. What we write? We write our code here in a PowerShell. Okay, PowerShell. Once we write this our code in the PowerShell, here this thing is not here, then it goes for execution to the client side. And once that goes to the execution, then client side there is the server object model exists, and through that server object model it connect to the database. Okay, so hello, हाँ बोला, ओके ओके ओके, हो होता है. So we can see here we connect to the client of the content database, and the response will came to this client.svc and will receive the response. So the client.svc play important role here. So how you can work out in that, and how we can uh, implement it using the Csom object model. So Csom means client object model, means whatever the things we implement is the client side and this is the server side. Whatever the things we implement it at the client side, and we just whatever the required we send the request to the server, and once response received will work out on response. So this is the mechanism how the client object model work. Okay, so the client object model basically rely on the client.svc. So in our management, PowerShell management, or earlier PowerShell also, means you use the command line tool, means using the command let. In short, we can show command let, means in the PowerShell management earlier type, that one also connect to the client.svc and create our site. I show you the example for that purpose. I have opened here. This is our earlier way through which we have created our site. Okay, so while creating this site, and here is I open the fiddler. In this fiddler, whenever we send the request to the server, I remove all. Okay, it send the request to the server to the client.svc for further execution. I'll click this. I'll say here I say cancel here because it required the two-factor or multi-factor authentication. Okay, I just put my site here, URL here, sorry, email ID here. Next, here I pass the password. what I want to show you, you will understand that it goes for multi-factor authentication. On my mobile I got a notification, I approve that. Now it will execute the site. Okay, already the same site name exists because I have run the script again. So, and it's approved. Okay, now see, it goes on say it's saying site already exists. Okay, but the main thing I want to highlight you, that is the, let me scroll down, and as I have shown you, it interact with the client service, that is the client.svc. So here, mm, sites vti bin underscore, you can see here, guys, you can see vti bin here underscore client.svc, you can see. So what happened, it connect, send the request to this service, okay, and we got the required response, and that response is, we need to explore this. It get the response that site already exists, or there also somewhere we got the response. See, exist site URL. You can see exist site URL. This is the site URL already exists. So you know that means, as I told you, it connect, send the request client.svc. Okay. So at that time we send the XML request. See, XML request sent to the server, and what happened? We got the response. So at the end, what happened? It connect with our client.svc service. There are different service associated, but client.svc plays important role to interact with this client.svc. So our PowerShell also interact with, but to interact proper way, all the methods predefined in some DLL are there, some predefined libraries are there. So we need to install those library through the Csom SDK, which is, you can see here, we need to install. So how to connect SharePoint online using Csom, and download and install online client SDK. So client SDK means there are some libraries. The name is Microsoft.SharePoint.client.dll, Microsoft SharePoint.client.runtime.dll. So these two things we need to install in our local system. Then only we will get the different functions or different methods. Those are defined in this client side object model. So first thing, what you know that what is the Csom and how it interacts. At the end, one thing keep in mind, everyone, either you go with the any way, with the, you go with the PNP way, or you go with the managed shell way, or you go with the Csom way. At the end, it connect with the client.svc only. But to interact with the client.svc with a different predefined library using or DLL client of Microsoft.SharePoint.client or client.runtime, it will give us a more flexibility, more method, and more simplicity while writing the code. Because if we write the code using the command line, so it will take some time and it will not provide that much features. Okay, so first thing I go here. Okay, so although SharePoint Online Management Shell, a number of PowerShell commandlet to manage the SharePoint Online, it quite limiting, and only way to do real SharePoint PowerShell is using the SharePoint Csom. Okay, so the client side object model is subset of the server object model, and it can be used supplement. Okay, but nowadays client side object model scope is a broad scope, okay, than the server side object model. So what I do, I'll go on this site and install that SDK so that the library files will get installed in my system. Here you can see the location, program files, common file, Microsoft Share, web server extension, and 16 ISAP. I will go in this folder. Okay, I click here and enter. Okay, I think folder is not exist saying that. Okay, so what I do, I'll go one by one. C drive, program files, common files, Microsoft Share, web server extension 16, and ISAP folder is not exist here. So what I do now, I'll go on this website. Okay, now what I need to install that SDK. Okay, so I go here and see here. So SharePoint Online component, which is used for client side object model. So which one is applicable to my system? I think this one. You need to check the operating system of your system. So I'll go here and I click on my computer here, this PC, properties, means whether my operating system is 64-bit or 32-bit. So here we can see 64-bit processor, you can see here. Okay, so I directly go here and say 64-bit. Okay, so SharePoint client component here also 64-bit. This one is also 64-bit. Okay, so you can install any one of them. SharePoint uh, this or this. Okay, I take first one, SharePoint client component. Okay, and install this. In case it will not work, then we need to go with this. Okay, so I download it and install. There are some instruction given here for installation. Okay, show in folder, and I will install this. Install. So it will take some time to install. Okay, now it will create the folder here. Okay, now I refresh it. Just a minute while installation is going on. So it will install the DLL. Okay, means the library those are required to implement the Csom client side object model or ECMS script in our PowerShell. Okay, so please wait. So meantime we'll go to the our blog. This is my blog. Okay, so here at this location it create assembly or DLL files in a 16 hive. Okay, the folder name is called 16 hive. How to write the Csom PowerShell script in SharePoint only? In SharePoint on premise, we had a log in SharePoint server and write execute PowerShell script. SharePoint online is in a cloud. We have the ability now to write the PowerShell script remotely. Okay, we are writing remotely. So while writing the PowerShell script, first of all, you need to add this DLL. We need to pass the reference of this DLL. What I'm saying, you need to pass the reference of this DLL. Okay, use this 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 library. Okay, use this library. Okay, and this library contain many predefined. While these two lines the script are enough, most of operations we need to reference below DLL when we deal with the service application like user. So there are other DLLs also exist. If you want to working on a user profile, manage the metadata, search and workflow, then respective DLL you need to add while executing your PowerShell. So I will go back here now. Just a minute. I have to say run as admin. I say, do you want to allow this app to make changes in your device? Yes. Maybe it will get completed immediately. And now it's time to and my completed and finish. It's time to check the folder. You can see iSAPI folder has been created here. In this iSAPI folder you can see all the library reference. You can see client.dll, client.runtime.dll. These two are important, those are added here. So what is the purpose of this DLL? They just help you to connect client.svc web service and it will give us the required result. Okay, so here some few things uh, what we are doing here. Convert. Okay, and I just checking. Execute query, load, execute list, title, item count. Okay. So in this code what we are doing, we are going to retrieve the particular list name, and here we have write the means website title, or website title, we just retrieve the website title, and here we are going to retrieve the list. Any list means what are the list exist in our site, those are retrieved here. Just a minute, I want to show you a retrieve complete script. Okay, so here web dot title. Okay, so here in this code what we are doing, we are just retrieving the name of my site, okay, using the client side object model. So here, and we can write the client side object model together with your SharePoint online management shell. Okay, so you can write the Csom, but first of all, as we discuss, first what we need to do, I'll go here. Okay, I'll say new file, new. Okay, and here I'll go, and first we need to load those library files, library reference we have added. Okay, so we need to load those library references here. Okay, I close this tab. No. Okay, so this is a, you need to save this. You can save, create the folder for your PowerShell script. Okay, proper folder you need to save. I just put it in document. I say Csom ps script. Okay, and see the PowerShell extension is p.ps1. when you save the file, its extension is .ps1. okay, so here I have copied the things. Now tool options, let me increase the size of the font. Okay, so what we did, we have added the library reference here. After that, next thing what we are doing, we are going to create one variable. So while creating the variable, so this is the way we need to give the pass the dollar symbol while creating the uh, right means we, while creating the variable site URL, I pass the site URL dollar site URL. after that After that, what I'm saying get credentials. Okay, so get credentials means it will, I'm creating one variable cred. So whenever we say dollar and any name, then that will be the variable name. So here I'm saying get credential, it will give me the credentials. After that, here we are saying, we will discuss more on it in coming sessions. I will give you describe more what is the meaning of each and everything. Okay, so here we pass this is here. Okay, site URL, which is site URL, we pass this site URL. What is this CTX means? This is a context. This is also one variable. New object Microsoft.SharePoint.client context. You can see we have added this library, and above that what I'm saying that client, if you say, you will get the IntelliSense also here to write the code client context, and I pass my site URL. Here I'm creating the client context. So what is the client context and all, we'll discuss more on it in a next session. I will describe you. As of now, we just implement the script and show you how it work. Okay, let me remove this thing. I just minimize this portion. Okay, so here, okay, so here I say get credentials, and this credential, see Microsoft.SharePoint.client.SharePoint online credentials. So username and password cred means whenever you say get credentials, it gives me the pop-up. Through that pop-up, it take the inputs from me, and these credentials are used in this context. And this context is what is saying there again variable web. Web means for that respective website, whichever the website you are calling, and you say load web execute query, and it will give me the result. So I just expecting the name of the site here. Okay, so earlier I have notepad file creator. I think I have closed that notepad. let me go here. I'll take the URL here. Okay, so here site name is Caesar Vision demo here. So I'll put the site URL here. Okay, and now what it will do, it will take site URL, take the credential, and through that credential it will create the context. What is the context? I'll explain all the details. Take this credential in this context.web, it create the object of a web, and after creating object it load that web in a context and it send the request to the server for execution, and we get the response. When we say client.execute query, at that time our request sent to the server. So I will keep the open the filter here as well and remove all those things. In this session we are just showing you how the client object model work and how exactly it will work. We'll discuss in the next session. So I'll just open it, save this. Okay, and it's asking me for the credentials, so I pass my credentials. Maybe it will not accept these credentials. Okay, so here you can see, okay, execute query, the sign in. Actually we have facing the two-factor authentication is a major issue here while signing. It requires the mobile authentication. Wait, issue still there. Just to put the cancel. No, just a moment. What I do, we'll go here. See this. So what I am doing here, we are passing the credentials. Get credentials. So I will directly pass the credential. See here, these two lines. Okay, I use this one. Okay, I directly pass the credentials here. I put these two lines. Context.create. I just remove this. On new objects and here. Okay, so I pass the credential directly here. I will explain you. So here I pass here credentials. Directly credential pass here. Those credentials are goes to the context and we validate the context here. The script you about will save. Okay. Again it asks me why, because this line, I remove this line. Execute now, save. Ensure automatic value cannot be none. Password. It requires the password. So value not be null. It creates the issue due to the multi-factor authentication. It's not allowing me. What I do in next session we'll discuss more on this topic. Okay, I'll show you how it work and how it execute. As of now you just pass the URL. Okay, pass the credentials. Due to the multi-factor authentication. I'm not able to do the mobile authentication here. So what I do, either I will remove the multi-factor authentication for this account and implement it. Okay, so we'll discuss those things in next session. Thank you.